Hello and welcome back to my channel. We are going to make hot sauce. It's a super easy process, so come with me and let's get started. Welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. I'm Kim, and if this is your first time here, thank you for joining us today. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Today, we are going to process some of last year's peppers into a very simple hot sauce. So these peppers here have been in my freezer waiting for me to do something with them. I picked these at the end of the season last year and threw them in the freezer. And now I'm getting them out the freezer so I can make room for this year's garden. And I've decided to turn this into a super simple hot sauce, a vinegar-based hot sauce. In here, I have jalapeno peppers, cayenne peppers, and one or two shishitos, and I think that's it. So those are all the different peppers we have here, and they're at many different stages. Some are red, some are green. But we are going to take these and turn them into a hot sauce. So it's going to probably be a green hot sauce, considering how many green peppers are in here. Super simple recipe. I have my recipe right here, and we will just go ahead and get started. The recipe called for 16 ounces of peppers, and I have a lot more than that, but let's just eyeball it here. This looks like roughly 4 cups of peppers or 1 quart of peppers. All I did was destem the peppers and throw them in this bowl. When I destemmed the peppers, of course, I had gloves on, because anytime you're working with this many peppers, that the oils of the peppers will get in your hands, and everything you touch, you will burn. You'll touch your face will burn. Please don't rub your eye, right? So always wear gloves when you're dealing with this many hot peppers. And so I got the peppers. All I did was destem them. I didn't cut them. I didn't take the seeds out either. The seeds and the ribbing is going to make this a much hotter pepper, because there's more heat in the seeds than it is in the pepper, in the green part or the red part of the pepper itself, or the skin of the pepper. So I kept it all together. We will eventually blend it all up so the seeds won't be a problem, and we will strain it. But for now, I destem the peppers. To the peppers, I am adding about 3 1/3 cups of white distilled vinegar. And to be honest with you, if all I had was apple cider vinegar, I would use that as well. And I don't know why I just poured it in this bowl. I need to be putting it in the pot. So in the pot, I have the peppers and the vinegar. I've also have 1 medium onion in here. And again, I'm going to blend this up. So all I did was put them in pretty big chunks. And we're going to put those in here as well. So that was about 1 medium onion. And I'm also adding some garlic. So this is, I don't know, this is probably the equivalent of 1 whole garlic. I bought it this way already, peeled and separated into the individual cloves. So this is the amount of about 1 garlic head. And I'm going to add a few more. I just want just a few more. So I'm going to add maybe a clove and a half. And it all just depends on how garlicky you want it, right? I love garlic, so I did about a clove and a half of garlic in here. And that's all I need. And from this point, we're going to move this over to the stove, and we're going to put it on about a medium heat for about 20 minutes to soften up the peppers and the onion and the garlic. So let's move over to that step. So now you can see in my pot, you can see I have all of the garlic. I have the onion and the peppers. And so we are going to turn the stove on and we are going to just cook it down. I will be back in about 20 minutes. I'll show you how everything has softened down. So I'll be back. Okay, let's see how we're doing. I'm going to let it cook for maybe 5 more minutes. I mean, it's soft, but I'm going to cook it just a little bit more, 5 more minutes. Let's check and see how we're doing. Oh, yes. Now it looks good. Nice, soft, mushy. All right. The next step is to put this in our blender. So let's move back over to the blender station. So our next step is to pour our peppers into the blender. So let's do that first. A couple pieces of garlic that just didn't want to let go. And to the peppers, we're going to add just a couple more ingredients. Let's do salt first. We're going to add 4 teaspoons of salt. I'm actually only going to put 3. That seems like a lot of salt. So I use Redmond's Real Salt. Is mined in Utah. So we don't have to worry about microplastics or anything like that in my salt. I'm also going to add a half cup of sugar. Oh, that's almost a half cup. Close enough. And now we'll add the oil. For the oil, it's going to be 2 teaspoons of oil. 1, 2. And the last thing that we're going to add is 1 lemon, the juice of a lemon. And I don't have any lemon right now, but I like this Santa Cruz lemon juice. I get it from Azure Standard. And so we're going to add the juice of 1 lemon is about 1/4 cup, roughly. So we'll get that in there. So let me double check my recipe. I got the sugar in, I got the salt, the lemon, and the oil. That's everything. So now we're going to put the top on and we are going to blend this up. This stopped all by itself and it says that it's done. I actually have a Vitamix blender. Let me put this back on for a second. I have a Vitamix blender that has some auto settings on it. There's one for liquefy. There's, I guess the frozen sign would be crush, like soups as well as purees. I put it on puree and I ran it and it got done a lot faster than I expected it to. We're going to have to give it a taste test to see is it really to the consistency that I'm looking for and does it have the right taste. I'm going to visit my brother tomorrow and I want to take him some hot sauce. He is the only other person besides myself who likes hot sauce. So I figured this is a good way to unload some of last year's hot peppers as well as give him a nice treat for the visit. So let's see how it tastes. Whew. Okay, it's hot. Yep, we know that it's hot. I can't taste any of the sugar though. So I'm gonna add a little more sugar and a little more lemon juice. So Gonna go with about a quarter cup more sugar. Whew, that's hot. And a little more lemon juice. Let's see. That's probably a quarter cup. And let's turn it back on and let it go for just a little longer. Okay, the blender just stopped again. So hopefully it's nice and creamy and smooth. And hopefully I have a large enough bowl to hold what we're getting ready to do on the next step. And this hot sauce is so hot, I'm going to trust that it tastes right because I'm still suffering. But my brother is going to love this. He usually only eats hot sauce that has like ghost peppers and Carolina peppers and things like that in there, and habaneros and cilantro and that kind of stuff. So he will love this. I just needed to sweeten it up just a tad. So it should be perfect for him. He will love it. He will love it. It's going to burn his insides out, but he will love it. So our next step here, safety first, is to take this extremely hot sauce and we're going to strain it off because there is going to be some pulp in here. And so we want to make sure we strain the pulp off. So we're just going to pour it right in the strainer here. Whew, I can smell the spice on it. I wish I had a few like bell peppers or some type of sweet pepper that I could have put in here as well, because that would have helped with some of the sweetness without me having to add so much sugar. So it would have been a more naturally sweet. I tell you what, Vitamix is amazing. It ground all of that seeds up. I mean, there's hardly any pulp, if any, in here. It got rid of all of it. But you always should strain it off just to make sure that there's no pulp left behind. And there's a little bit on here. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a little, but very little. It's nice. It's smooth. Um, it's more of a greenish color because my peppers were more green than they were red. But it's not about the color. It's about the taste. And my brother's going to love this. There it is. There's the hot sauce. All right, now I need to jar it up. Now, hot sauce will last for months in your refrigerator. So I'm giving my brother a jar that I'm sure he's going to keep in his refrigerator. But since I don't have time to do it tonight, I'm going to put all of it in the refrigerator for today. And then we will come back and finish this video once I come back from my little day trip to go off and see my brother. So this made 3 pints, and this jar is just a little under pint size. This is me reusing a jar. I can't remember what came in it, but something else came in this jar, and I'm reusing it for the hot sauce. This one, um, I'm going to put labels on all of these, but I should have waited to put this label on after I can them up in they will be water bath canned, but just not today. I will do it tomorrow and I'll come back on this video and show you. But I wanted to get this jar ready to go, and I should have put the label on this jar for my brother, but we will get it labeled up right now so you can see it before we move to the next step. I used a red Sharpie because I wanted to make sure that he knows it's hot. There he goes. So it's a greenish color with just a little bit of, it looks like yellow highlights in it, but this is the hot sauce. I wish I had a hot sauce container I could have put it in, but I don't have any. And I didn't want to go buy any jars just yet, just in case I couldn't make this work. Since now I know how to do it, and I'll be making hot sauce gifts for Christmas, then I'll go buy some very nice small jars for packaging hot sauce in the future. But I am going to say goodbye for now, and I will be back tomorrow to show you how to can this hot sauce up to make it shelf stable for several years. I will be right back. Hello and welcome back. It's the next day, and it is now time for us to finish canning our hot sauce. So today I actually went to visit my brother, who's the hot sauce expert in our family. I had him give my hot sauce a taste test. He said it was good. He said it was a little bit sweet, but it still wasn't hot enough for him. So that means it's perfect for everybody else. So he thoroughly enjoyed the gift that I left with him. And now we have 3 more jars that we need to get formally canned up. These 3 jars of hot sauce would actually stay in the refrigerator for several months and be perfectly fine. Because of the acidity in this hot sauce, we can actually water bath can the hot sauce so that we can preserve it for a couple of years using the water bath method. If I plan to use it all within a couple of months, I could just find a place in the refrigerator and it would be good to go. But I'm the only person in the house that likes hot sauce, so this is a little bit more than I can use, probably, honestly, in a year's time, especially since I know the 2023 garden's coming in and I'm going to be wanting to make more hot sauce. So we are going to water bath can this now. If the jars were still hot from where I made it yesterday, then I would put it in a warm water bath setup. But it's not, it's been sitting overnight. I have a huge stock pot here. I've had this canner for, probably 10 or 15 years at this point, and it holds 7 quart jars, and it's a 21 quart canner, and it comes with a rack. So I've filled this about halfway full with water, and right now it's just tap water, so it's just warm tap water. I already have the stove on, and we are going to put the jars into my little rack here. So we're going to get those put in. I'm just spacing them out a little bit, and we're going to make sure they're submerged underwater, and they're just barely submerged. So I'm going to add a little more water. You want the water to be about an inch or so over the top of your jars. I have my stove on high. My water is about an inch over the jars. I didn't want to shock the jars. You know, if these jars had come out the refrigerator, I would have put room temperature water in this canner. The jars were already at room temperature, so I just used very warm, I turned it up to hot, but this isn't that hot yet, tap water into my canner. I have the water a good 1 to 2 inches above the top of the jar. I'm gonna put my lid on it. Now that we have the jars in the canner, we have the lid on the canner, we have the canner on, we need to bring it to a boil, and then we need to let it boil for 20 minutes. Once that's done, I will be right back. All right, I just wanted to make sure you could see how my pot's boiling. We're gonna let it boil for 20 minutes, and then we will come back here. Now that it's up to a boil, I'm gonna put the lid back on it. I like to leave just a teeny crack in the lid just so it doesn't superheat. You can superheat a pot by having the cover on it, and it continues to build and build. It's kind of like building pressure. So I don't like my pots to overheat or superheat. So I leave a tiny crack so that the steam can escape, which with this type of lid, it would be able to escape anyway. But I like to know if something's going wrong inside. So I have it venting, small little gap here, and we're gonna let it go for 20 minutes and then we will be back. Okay, welcome back. We've been now boiling for 20 minutes. I'm gonna turn my pot off and I am going to let them sit here for about 10 minutes to let them naturally kind of settle and cool down before I remove them from the canner. If I try to remove the jars from the canners with them this hot inside, and I lift that jar out, sometimes the liquid inside the jar will siphon out as it hits that change in temperature so rapidly. So I like to turn the pot off and let the pot slowly cool down with the jars inside the pot. So I'm gonna let it sit here for about 10 minutes if I don't forget to come back. And then we will remove the jars and set them to the side. It's been about 15 minutes and the jars have been cooling in the canner. We're gonna remove the jars. So I just removed the lid and realized that one of my jars is actually laying on its side, but that's okay because we will get that out of there anyway, and it looks like it didn't break or anything, so we should be okay. So I like to lift my rack, and once I lift the rack, let's start with the one that's turned over. I use this tool here, and then you can get these, a lot of times they come as kits with the canners, but you take these, this little device here, and I just did the one that was turned over first. You're gonna pick it up. And we are going to carry it over and add it to the drying towel. And we're gonna do the exact same thing with the next jar. Now we will need these jars to sit here and cool until they pop right in the center on the lid. You'll see the indentation, it'll suck in as this jar continues to cool. And then we'll let it sit here for a day or two to make sure that we have a good seal. And once we know we have a good seal, we will remove this outer ring from the jar. And I like to put a date on the top of the jar as well. And we'll put it away for long-term storage. So when I say long-term storage, I mean for 2 to 3 years, not 25 years. Thank you for joining me. That's the full process from beginning to end of making hot sauce. Thank you. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you enjoyed this video, here's a couple more videos as well as playlists that you can click on to see more, hopefully exciting information. Please subscribe to my channel. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Bye-bye.